Welcome to all my listeners. This podcast is brought to you by the Chartered Institute of Building, also known as the CIOB, the world's largest and most influential professional body for construction management and leadership, with around 50,000 members in over 100 countries. Our members, past and present, have had a hand in executing many groundbreaking construction projects across the world, from the House of Parliament in London and the Sydney Opera House, through to venues for the Beijing and London Olympics. Chartered membership provides you with recognition of your abilities, knowledge, and experience within the industry, creating more exciting career opportunities. Don't forget to become a student member for free today. I'm your host, Monica Narasimhan, Marketing and Events Lead representing Tomorrow's Leaders Victoria, along with my co-host, Conrad Ferreira, who will be introducing himself. Over to you, Conrad.
Hello all, thank you all for joining us today. My name's Conrad, I'm Chair of Tomorrow's Leaders Victoria and have been part of since Novus Victoria kicked off 5 years ago down here in Melbourne, Australia. Thanks very much for joining us. This year we've gone with a couple of different themes as far as podcast series that we're bringing out to our audience, and this one here is Industry Insights with various professionals, and we're going here today across the world to the CIOB in the UK and Ryan Watson and Bukola out of Edinburgh and out of Scotland and the UK. I'm Conrad. I'm a construction management student who graduated in 2019. I had the benefit through the CIOB of travelling to Edinburgh for the CIOB Members Forum in 2019. That was a fantastic event to take part in the Global Student Challenge. So that was brilliant there. Since then, I went into industry and was selling construction management software through one of Australia's largest resellers for Autodesk and Bluebeam. And I've since returned to study to take on the JD, Juris Doctor at University of Melbourne. So that will continue for the next 3 years.
Thank you, Conrad. So today we have two great guests joining us from the UK. We've got Bukola Adeoye and Ryan Watson. A little bit about Bukola. She actually graduated from Robert Gordon University with a Bachelor of Science in Construction Management. She's presently a graduate construction manager for Balfour Beatty, and is also the chair of CIOB Tomorrow's Leaders Aberdeen chapter from the UK. Ryan is studying towards an honours degree at Heriot-Watt University with a line of study in construction and built environment. He also works full-time at the City of Edinburgh Council as an apprentice building standard surveyor, where building warrant assessments and subsequent site inspections are key duties within his role. So in addition, Ryan works with the Chartered Institute of Building as a member of the Education Action Group, where he will soon transition to the chair of Tomorrow's Leaders Scotland Group. So welcome both to Conversations with Construction Connoisseurs. Could you please introduce yourselves for our audience today?
Hello, everyone. My name is Bukola Adeoye. As Monica has mentioned, I graduated from Robert Gordon University this year, 2021, from construction management. Presently, I'm working with Balfour Beatty as a graduate construction manager.
Hello everyone, thank you for the introduction there, Monica. You've just about covered everything. So yes, my name is Ryan Watson. I'm an apprentice building standard surveyor from Midlothian, which is a county in the outskirts of Edinburgh. I study construction in the built environment at Heriot-Watt University. Currently in my third year of studies, another year and a half or so to go. And through that is a day release course, which I study on Fridays, and I work full-time at the City of Edinburgh Council from Monday to Thursday as an apprentice building standard surveyor. I am also transitioning into chair of the Tomorrow's Leaders strand of the CIOB in Scotland, and currently work with the Education Action Group at the Chartered Institute of Building as well. Thank you.
So moving on to the second part of our podcast series, we're going to be talking about career resilience and transitioning for individuals. So on Construction Connoisseurs, we're going to be talking about how COVID-19 has also impacted and catalyzed career moves in the industry. For example, I started off as a graduate of architecture, soon to transition into construction management, and now I'm working as a project manager. So I would like to ask my panelists here, how did you enter the industry as a graduate? Bukola, would you like to answer that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Actually, my journey into working in the construction sector started like 3 years ago. And it was during a site visit, which was organized by CIOB. I actually made a partnership with my school, Robert Goddard University, and CIOB. So during a site visit, I was able to speak to the coordinator, like, after the introduction, going around, I was like, I would like to have a work experience here. So really, is that so? Yeah, so okay, then you can email me. And that was how it started. I emailed, so I started like a work experience. And within a month, the project director called me and said, I love your enthusiasm. You'd like to take a role as a trainee. And I was so happy about it. And I took up that role, and that was how it started. So after my third year, that was during my second year, my third year, I applied to Balfour Beatty as a student placement, and I was taken upon. Then after my graduation, they took me on as a graduate construction manager.
Was there anything particular on that site visit? What was the site visit of, Bukola?
Yeah, my site visit is to construction students, construction management students, to understand the process of how construction is all being made, So we went into, it was in Aberdeen. So we went into the project to actually see how the project is being constructed. So,
okay.
And it was really, really beneficial because we can actually see, normally we have our lectures, but now we can apply what we've been taught during lecture to the, real life situation. We can see everything, physically, not just at the lecture. So it was really, really beneficial. And ever since we'll be having 1 or 2 site visits during every semester or section in the school.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's something we try and really endorse down here in Tomorrow's Leaders Victoria, as previously Novus Victoria, as far as getting on site to see the tangible side of things. The theoretical, you can study the theory, over the years, but until you see the tangible, you don't physically see the interactions and the sections coming together and how everything is intertwined to create that tapestry that is construction management, I suppose. Excellent. That's great to hear. So, Ryan, if I could ask yourself then, when did you know you wanted to become an apprentice or take on an apprenticeship in building standards as a building standard surveyor and in construction management?
To be honest, in all honesty, it was completely and utterly sheer luck. In 2019, I was working in the business banking sector of TSB, which is a strand of the Lloyds Banking Group. During this role, one of my colleagues actually told me of how his partner was a quantity surveyor and the advantages of her role herself. From here, I kind of started researching surveying and roles within the built environment. However, at this time, I had my sights actually set on a different role, which was in the police force, and I was working through the recruitment process of this. So surveying at that point was very much a background thought. Whilst I was preparing for my police interview, my dad actually told me of a job advertisement at the City of Edinburgh Council for a building surveying role. So I kind of applied, but as I said again, it was more of a background thought. The job advertisement was actually urgent, so in less than a week I was informed that I was successful in the first stages and I was going to be invited to an interview. The interview day actually turned out to be exactly the same date as the Police Scotland interview. So the police interview was first, and I prepared quite extensively this, as I was kind of determined at that point to go into that line of work. So the first section of that interview went very well. However, the second one, I kind of knew when I came out that it hadn't went well at all. And that was kind of a blessing in disguise in some ways, because that meant on the way to my interview, I wasn't really thinking about the building standards role or interview. I was more kind of annoyed at myself for the previous meeting. So when I went into the interview, I was kind of very relaxed, and that definitely helped me in regards to that. And I'd actually never heard of building standards, and so I had no idea how they operated, because as I said, the role was very much a background thought at particular time. As I said, I was able to kind of build a good rapport with the interview panel, and I kind of knew that I'd given a good account of myself when I left, unlike the police interview. And with only a few days, I think it was 2 or 3 days, I was actually called by my now manager, Daniel Henderson, to let me know that they were going to offer me a role as an apprentice building standard surveyor. And if I wanted it, it was there for me, essentially. The reason I kind of wanted to give you an in-depth account of my pathway into becoming an apprentice building standard surveyor is to provide kind of motivation to the young individuals watching this podcast who are either thinking of or are currently studying towards a career within the built environment, and just to let you know that anything's kind of possible if you put in the hard work and dedication. As I said before, the interview, I had no idea who or what building standards was, the department itself, and my knowledge of the construction industry in general was even smaller than that. 2 years ago, I probably couldn't tell you any materials used in at all. But fast forward 2 years, and a letter came through the door today. So I was actually awarded with a scholarship from the Scottish Building Federation, as being noticed as a high performing student at Heriot-Watt University. So yes, I'd just like to provide motivation to those watching this, to let you know that it might be hard at the moment, but things do get better if you put in the hard work and dedication.
Yeah, excellent, fantastic. What a place to be involved with building surveying, such as Edinburgh. Geez, Edinburgh's got such a fabulous sort of history with all historical buildings in the two sort of sides of town, isn't it? So fantastic to be able to sort of maintain that and, make sure it's safe and sound for everybody to occupy these buildings still, considering it goes back centuries, right?
Yeah, definitely. And when I started my career within building standards, the St James's Centre for Development was actually going on, which is one of the biggest the whole of Scotland seen in the last number of years. So I kind of got my teeth into that as soon as I was there and went on various site inspections. So that was amazing, something that's kind of not available within maybe smaller local authorities, unlike Edinburgh. So yeah, it has been great, and hopefully for years to come, it will continue to grow within the industry and within standards.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, again, I mentioned that I came to the Edinburgh CIOB Members Forum, and we had the chance to actually do a site visit of St James's Square there, which was fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. And it's only just opened, is that correct?
Yeah, so I think it was 3 months ago or so, maybe. I'm not sure if that's correct. But yes, fairly recently it has opened. I've not had the chance to visit yet, but as I said, I did go on various interim inspections for the site, and it did look like a spectacular place. So I'm sure it's going down a treat.
Some of the main challenges you both face in your roles. Over to you, Bukola.
The main challenges to me is honestly managing the people you work with. But to be honest, I think most people are more considerate and they are more understanding when you speak to them nicely. And so I'll be working, with a perfect, supportive team, and it has been well. And another challenge is, during the COVID, sometimes you need to work from home. It's kind of challenging because I have kids, trying to manage work and at the same time manage the family. But so far so good. It's been awesome.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
What about you, Ryan?
As a probably apprentice building standard surveyor, I'd probably say my main challenge is definitely time management. Although kind of apprentices, it's kind of seen as more admin tasks, it's completely different at the City of Edinburgh Council. I was kind of thrown right in the deep end as soon as I walked in the doors, and that's definitely assisted with my learning. So within the first week of my role, I was actually given an building warrant application to kind of go through myself and pick up any faults on. At first, it was really daunting, but as I said, it's definitely something that's assisted my learning massively. But working both at City of Edinburgh Council with the CIOB and at Heriot-Watt, time management is essential for me. Yeah, that would probably be the biggest one.
we're going to be talking about the contributions within the CIOB and beyond. So can you both fill us in on your roles as chairs within the CIOB Tomorrow's Leaders chapters for Aberdeen and Scotland, respectively? Over to you, Ryan.
I would honestly love to go into depth about my current role as chair of Tomorrow's Leaders group. However, I'm very much a newbie of the group, so I've still got a lot of learning and understanding to do. Since the start of the year, I've been working with the Education Action Group, which is another strand of the CIOB, and our work mainly focuses on students once more to try and build reputations with third-party construction companies and with students in order to find placements during their studies. So that's definitely one of our main objectives at the moment. In terms of Tomorrow's Leaders, the current target, we're trying to set up a meeting in regards to the COP26. Some of you may be aware of what that is. So it's a United Nations kind of climate change conference, which has been held in Glasgow. The first time I think it's been held in Glasgow. So we're just trying to organise some sort of event that kind of tails in with that, just to we're trying to get a panel discussion between ourselves, some students and also some construction professionals throughout the industry to discuss what's happened at COP26, what is going to be after the event, what the implications are on the industry itself, and what we think we can do as an industry to try and help meet the climate targets that we've set ourselves. So yeah, that's definitely our main target at the moment within Tomorrow's Leaders. As I said, I've got a lot of learning and understanding to do of my role in general, but I'm hoping that for the next few years that it's something that I'll learn and expand on and be able to give you a more in-depth analysis of my role in months, years to come.
Very good. Well, look, Tomorrow's Leaders only new. We've only just transitioning to it, so I think a lot of us are in a familiar setting to an extent. Bukola, how about yourself?
Okay, thank you. My role is similar to what Ryan said, but in addition to that, my major role is liaise between the school and CIOB to identify opportunities to students. And also, like I mentioned, we always have site visits, which give opportunity to students, for them to see the real work, being done on the construction site. And also, like I highlighted some point, like in terms of opportunity for placement for students, because that's a key issue, for them to actually experience that, and opportunity for graduates jobs after graduation. And I'll be having the opportunity to bring in some of the CIOB members to speak to students about their roles and encouraging them on how to progress. And it has been wonderful. Then normally before COVID, we normally have, representative from CIOB coming into school. So we normally have a lunch and learn where they will tell us about their roles, what they've been doing, opportunities for students to ask questions individually, and it has been successful. And I believe from this year, with the new regulations, hopefully it's in our favor, we'll resume back to that where we'll have face-to-face, with CIOB members, telling us what benefit of CIOB to students, to us.
Excellent, fantastic. Yeah, look, it must be great to have some established hubs in your areas where you have access to senior professionals from the CIOB that are readily available to come in and provide information to students and young graduates that are not sure exactly where they want to head. That's something we're still establishing down here in Victoria and in Australia, in our realm or in our area of the country. Sydney do it a lot better, but it's something that's still to come along. So that's something we'll need to work towards over the next few years to ensure we can strengthen that. Placement isn't something we really do via our Tomorrow's Leaders Victoria. So that's something we could also look into. So it's brilliant to hear that you've got that sort of access, or you've got those aspirations to enhance that for students in your area.
how does the acquisition of MCIOB or chartership help in a global industry association such as the CIOB?
I'll come in with that. I know, like, when I want to join for BT and from my first company that I work with, which is Robertson Group, there's this column that you have to identify if you're chartered, if you're a student membership. And from my own understanding, I discovered that, okay, most companies actually require this, for you to be in one professional body, which is really good. Being a member of CIOB is an added advantage for everyone, especially if you are studying in the doing construction management. So I encourage everyone to be part of CIOB, and also there are a whole lot of benefits, especially for students. We have access to online lectures or access to libraries. There's a whole lot, and it also helps with our coursework because I'm a beneficiary to that. Because sometimes there's a whole lot of webinars, seminars that you can attend, and there are CIOB members that they are ready to listen to you. If you have any questions, just send in your question. You have your reply immediately. They are willing to help, and as a student, you really beneficial a lot being a member of CIOB.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I would just like to reiterate exactly what Bukola said there, as well as going into depth in terms of the Chartered Institute of Building. It's a worldwide organisation, so no matter whereabout you go in the world, maybe a few countries may not know of it, but it's kind of well respected across the globe, and that's kind of shown within this podcast. Is ourselves from the UK are speaking with two people in line with the CIOB in Australia. So although we're miles apart, we are still within the same organisation, and it's a brilliant accreditation to have. Many jobs look for it throughout the industry. You may think that kind of smaller end jobs may not look for it, and it may not make as much of a difference. However, it can be that telling point whether you get a job in front of someone or not. It's definitely something I would advise you to kind of get in line with, definitely down the student path. First of all, further to this, it's not just the accreditation that it provides. We also kind of run plenty of educational podcasts just like this one, and also with other professional members of the industry from different sectors: ventilation, fire safety, engineering, lots of different throughout the year. So I definitely advise you to get involved, firstly as a student member, and then once you've kind of built yourself within the industry, yes, definitely go for the accreditation of CIOB.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, we'll have to echo your sentiments also, because it is a way to evaluate yourselves, I suppose, against all the other construction management professionals across the world, to hold yourself at the same esteem as everybody else once you go through that professional review process. It's also a conduit to the world, beyond Australia's borders or beyond everybody's borders, sort of thing, where you can get involved in associations, not in associations, in events and meetings and conferences or what have you, with like-minded professionals, no matter where you are on the planet. So what's being done in Melbourne today can be done in Hong Kong tomorrow, in Dubai the day after, and London and Scotland beyond. So it's a fantastic conduit out to the world. So yeah, we couldn't endorse CIOB enough. Having said that, here in Australia, it's not necessarily a prerequisite for industry to be a chartered member of our largest construction companies, our tier ones and tier twos. Most of them do CPD internally, so it's all done in-house, but it is something we're definitely working towards, because I think quality of our building could be improved if we were to have chartered members as construction management on sites. It is done for engineers, but for construction managers themselves, it's not. So yeah, just thought I'd add that. The next part of our podcast is going to be covering career resilience and transition Resilience in psychology is the positive capacity of people to cope with stress and adversity. It is the ability to adapt well into new situations, as well as adversity that encompasses both strength and flexibility. It is the emerging and necessary ability in the workplace. So, Ryan and Mikola, what do you enjoy most in your current profession? And are you excited about the possibilities that C19 or COVID-19 has opened up?
So one thing I enjoy, to be honest, is the amount of responsibility I'm currently given by my management team, especially since the kind of COVID-19 outbreak. We've all kind of started working from home remotely every single day of the week, which has been beneficial. It's had its kind of downfalls, but also it's definitely had its good parts. Responsibility has definitely increased. My working university balance does sometimes get stressful. However, I do strive from the level of responsibility I'm given by the department. Ever since the COVID-19 outbreak, my levels of responsibility, as I said, have definitely increased. They continue to do so as well. I've also had kind of some recent positive client feedback, which was provided to me by my manager. And I love working with people and other people within my role as verifier. I work with various members of the project team throughout various construction projects throughout Edinburgh in order to ensure that the construction projects adhere to the current Scottish building regulations. So yes, responsibility. I've actually recently transitioned into the site inspections team. So previously it would be the case I would kind of shadow other surveyors whilst carrying out inspections, but I now do a catalogue of inspections every week myself. So this entails kind of going out on site and also via the use of Microsoft Teams and FaceTime in order to carry out these remote inspections, mainly on kind of smaller jobs at the moment. So from single story, 2-story extensions to attic conversions, garage conversions, internal alterations, that kind of thing. But yes, definitely responsibility has increased, and that's something that I have enjoyed, especially since COVID-19, because as I said just there, something else that's opened up because of COVID-19, we are using Microsoft Teams and FaceTime a lot more in order to engage with our clients instead of always kind of meeting in person. That has its advantages, and also its disadvantages. Disadvantages come in the sense of you can only see a certain amount via a small screen, especially for site inspections, which is very, very important to ensure compliance as a building regulations. However, in order to kind of come about that, we do ask for photographic evidence if there is anything that kind of looks untoward or we can't physically see very well via the small screen. But definitely that has provided a benefit to the whole department because it allows us to get through a lot more work. First of all, we're not travelling to and from site, which from one side of Edinburgh to the other can sometimes take half an hour. So we're saving that time definitely. So that is definitely allowing us to meet the Scottish Government targets a lot quicker, a lot better, a lot more efficiently. But as I said, it does have its downfalls in terms of the small screen. So if there is kind of larger jobs, we do still go out on site. For example, housing sites, big non-domestic jobs, other domestic jobs that may be kind of big conversions, maybe 2 dwellings into 1 or vice versa, 1 dwelling into 2. So yes, it has had its benefits, has had its downfalls, but in terms of overall, I definitely think we have learnt a lot ourselves as a department, and also the construction industry in general, which I'm sure that came over in Australia. We've understood that although we may not like change, some change is actually good, and we've been kind of forced into this change. And for the most part of it, definitely over here in Scotland, there has been so many advantages to it. And we have learned so much about our industry and building standards, as I said.
Yeah, brilliant. What about yourself, Mikola?
For me, the most interesting that I really like most is the fact that you can see your progress of work. For instance, when you're doing it, working on a construction site, you can actually see how you move, how the progress of the job is, and the changes every day, because working on a project on the construction site every day is never the same thing. So that really gives me, that fulfillment when we achieve every stage of our construction program. And also, working with amazing team, it's a plus, because without this team, you can't actually get on. When I mean team, with everybody who's working on site, from the offices, everybody, we are all one team. And when we all work collaboratively together and we can see the success of the project, that gives me fulfillment to, oh yes, because at the end of the day, you have to, analyze what you have achieved, and you can see, oh, there's a progress coming in. Also, working in construction sector, it's a thing of joy, because every project is different, and it's a thing of joy having an experience, working on a building site, on a road side. They're all different, but the key thing is the success of the project at the end of it.
Yeah. No, look, I definitely concur. I think the COVID-19 has definitely helped collaboration between teams and between stakeholders, between clients and what have you. It's also increased, like Ryan mentioned, the transparency that's available. But having to record things and doing everything digitally gives you that opportunity to have physical data that's readily available, even if it's in slightly smaller areas, but you can always request more of it. One thing I think definitely over here in Australia is it's helped the introverts come to the fore. Whereas before you might have been in a physical environment and you'd quickly go around, has anybody got something else to add or what have you? All of a sudden now we go around in circles almost, have you got anything to say? And you'll go around the room and actually ask each person, have they anything to add? And then you sign off. So it isn't just the loudest voice in the room anymore that gets the sort of limelight, I suppose. So that's something that's definitely occurred via our sort of virtual Teams meetings or Zoom or what have you. And hopefully that continues once we go back into the physical world, because we're still in lockdown over here, obviously. Just another question then. What's the one thing that you're focusing on learning right now in the workplace, given all that's happening? Is there anything in particular you're pinpointing?
So currently, as I said, site inspections is kind of my main duty at the moment. And as I discussed as well, it's kind of smaller jobs that I'm kind of dealing with at the moment. But in order to try and kind of increase my exposure, I've been trying to shadow senior surveyors every couple of weeks within the department on larger developments, including kind of domestic housing sites, various kind of non-domestic, various school projects. We've got a few projects going on at various hospitals throughout Edinburgh as well. And also, more recently, I was working on the St James's Centre with my mentor, Kevin Gibb, which has recently just opened and has probably been one of the biggest construction projects in the country in recent times. So through carrying out this shadowing role, I hope to kind of gain additional knowledge and expertise in order to advance my role within the site inspections team and my current role within building standards as a whole, in order to get my teeth into bigger jobs, shall we say. So yes, hopefully that will continue and able to my exposure that way.
Okay. Any technology or software that you're using or have taken on to assist with that?
At the moment, not really. Not really at the moment. I've not used any kind of new softwares at all. No.
Okay. What about yourself, Bukola?
Yeah, for me as a graduate construction manager, every day is a learning process. I can't really pinpoint one particular area I would like to advance, but as my role entails, based on the standard and the procedure I need to follow in my role is to learn as it comes. So I'm all open, happy to learn as many as possible that comes my way.
Excellent. And in a company like Balfour Beatty, I assume you're in a group of graduates that are all going through rotations and what have you. Is that right?
Yeah, well, we have procedures at every stage what you need to learn and advance. So it's all it's all standard form. You need to learn this and this. There are procedures. So at every stage, yeah.
Okay.
things I need to learn and to proceed on. Do you have
Brilliant.
any
Well, that concludes part 3 of our webinar here today.
Thank you very much, Ryan and Bucola, for bringing your energy and insights to this episode. It's been a delight to chat with like-minded young professionals and emerging leaders like yourselves as a sign of your contributions to the CIOB and within the construction industry. Could each of you please give me an example of personal development advice to help inspire these emerging professionals to advance in their careers today? Over to you, Ryan.
I would just say focus on yourself and only yourself. Don't worry about who or what you're up against. If you believe in yourself and give 100% every time you get an opportunity to do so, then you will definitely achieve great things and achieve what you want to achieve. I'd like to give you a task to anyone who's watching this before I leave today. So the task is, within 5 days of you watching this, I expect all of you to have at least 25 new connections on LinkedIn. If you don't have LinkedIn at the moment, I would definitely advise you to create a profile. Building connections within industry is definitely a great starting point in order to grow your exposure. And if you haven't already, feel free to connect with myself. So I'm Ryan Watson, Apprentice Building Standards Surveyor at the City of Edinburgh Council. So yes, as I said, personal development advice is definitely focus on you and only yourself, and build connections whenever possible, because it does help a lot. It's about who you know and what you know, but who you know is definitely very important. You need to build that. It's not really a client base, but in terms of connections, the more people you know, the more help you can be assisted with, especially going for your university degree. You can get help from various people through various job roles within the industry.
Fantastic response. How about yourself, Bucola?
My main advice is, if you know you've not joined the CIOB, and I will encourage every student to join the CIOB, to register, because it's a good advantage, especially if you want to go into the working industry. And also, I will encourage you to always follow your goals, your inner goals. That small instinct that tells you, yes, you can do it. The ability to be determined in whatever you're doing. Don't limit yourself in any area. Try to explore, try to believe in yourself and your ability that you can do it, and you can achieve whatever you determine that you can achieve.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. We have to agree with that from this side. Definitely. Building a network, 100%, Ryan, is on key there. LinkedIn's the perfect place to do it. Even if you're in your first, second year of university, it's never too early to start building a network and having people there that you can lean on. Construction's all about collaboration and bringing something together with a team. So the sooner you can start a team or have people to lean on to provide information when you need it is always very handy to get to. As far as following your own dream, we put together a webinar series there toward the end of last year called Construction a la carte, and we sort of surmised one's construction journey as being equivalent to one's personal flavors and the taste that you have. Everybody's got different tastes, everybody's got different flavors. Sitting around with your groups of mates or what have you and arguing over what one likes and what one doesn't like, it's different for everybody. So you've got to find your own personal flavor and what excites you and what you'd like to consume throughout your career, sort of thing. So definitely go after your own dreams and pursue them regardless of what others might persuade you. Over to you, Mon.
Thanks, Conrad. Great response, Bucola, and wish we could keep the conversations going outside the production. But before we call it a wrap, Ryan and Bucola, could you please share a go-to quote that defines your attitude to getting where you are today? Over to you, Ryan.
I'll keep it simple. You're not number one in your industry, so why are you relaxing?
believe in yourself and you can achieve whatever you determine to achieve.
Fantastic. Thank you both for your great responses. Honestly, this helps me and aspiring professionals so much today, because when I was working on the job, I used to suffer from imposter syndrome. So I always used to question my abilities, whether I was good enough for the job or not. And sometimes I guess the role of mentorship plays an important role as well, because they're definitely going to lead you the way, and you'll always have someone to guide you through the whole process. So yeah, thank you so much today, Bucola and Ryan.
Just like to say thank you for having us today. It was great to chat to you guys about our experiences within the construction industry.
We'd like to say thanks, obviously, from Tomorrow's Leaders Victoria's to yourselves. It's always brilliant to engage with other Tomorrow's Leaders superstars from across the planet. So to engage yourselves from the UK and Scotland to get your perspective on what's happening over there will open, hopefully, the minds or insights for our community to consider opportunities around the globe and the possibilities that the CIOB creates by being part of this global network. So thanks very much for your time. We appreciate that. And look, I'd like to say thank you also on behalf of our community. Have a fantastic day all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.